Hey, this is Teeco Steve, and welcome to our podcast, where entrepreneurs come together to experience a better business for a better life and a better life for a better business. Hey, Teeco Steve here. Welcome to episode 2. Our last episode, we introduced the concept of better lives for better business and better business for better lives. And we're going to continue to explore that. And today we're going to focus on finances. We're going to give you some practical steps and practical things you can do to make a better business for yourself. And we're also going to spend a little bit of time reflecting on our personal finances and the effects that has on our business and how those two things work together so that we can have a better life for better business and a better business for better life. So let's get at it. Let's focus on what does it mean to have a better business with the use of finances. I want to introduce you today to the idea of a dashboard. Think about a dashboard in your car. Most of us know that. We take it for granted. When you're driving down the highway, the biggest thing on your dashboard is the speedometer. It's usually front and center. Now, we could call that speedometer, your speed, a KPI. It's a key performance indicator. It's probably the most important thing that we pay attention to as we're driving down the highway. If you come into a school zone and it says the speed limit is 30 miles an hour and you're doing 70 miles an hour through it, it's not safe. So your KPI of 70 miles an hour is not in line with what you should be doing. 30 miles an hour for that speed limit on the school zone. We have other gauges on our dashboard too. We have a little gauge that tells us how hot our engine is. We have another gauge that tells us what the oil pressure our engine is. And if those gauges aren't there, when our engine gets too hot or we lose some oil pressure, lights start flashing at us and telling us, hey, this KPI, in other words, your engine's getting too hot. You better pull over before your engine explodes. Or you've lost oil pressure, pull over immediately before your engine seizes up. So we're using all these gauges on our dashboard so that we can continue to drive our cars down the highway safely and reliably. And we do this so subconsciously we don't even think about it if you've been driving for a number of years. So that dashboard in our car becomes really important to be able to drive that car down the highway safely. Now we can use that same exact concept when we talk about finances for our business. And we can build what's called a financial dashboard. And what we want to do is we want to find the most important financial numbers in our business that keep our business running, that we can continue to tweak on and continue to change to make it run better and better. These are numbers that you might want to look at every day, every week, or every month. So you look at them and you know whether your business is healthy or not. Then you're going to, once you understand that perhaps that it's not healthy, you're going to go back and make some adjustments into your business and come back and look at those numbers to see if your adjustments have made any changes. Or if it's healthy and you want to make it even healthier, same story. You go away, you make some changes, you go back and see if it's moved the needle for yourself. So it's a financial dashboard very similar to the dashboard that you have on your car. We want to build a financial dashboard as a first step to improving the finances to make our business better. Now, where do you start? You can have a discussion with your accountant, your bookkeeper. They're going to start really focusing on KPIs. What are the key performance indicators for your business? And what you're going to find, you're going to have no trouble identifying 10, 20, 30 different numbers that might move the needle for you. And sometimes you can get stuck right there by getting too worried about what number to track. I can remember when I started doing this, I tracked way too many numbers. And the veterans in the industry were telling me, just start with one number. And the number that most companies want to start with is a number called labor efficiency ratio. Now you already have this data in your books. Don't let this thing scare you because we're going to dive into labor efficiency ratio in a minute. But you already have all the data that you need. Your bookkeeper and your accountant have it. Your bookkeeper and your accountant organize that data in such a way that it's designed so that you can have a dashboard so that you can pay your taxes. Your bookkeeper and your accountant have many other clients, and they have a very systematic way to organize data so that no matter what client they have, it's easy for them to figure out the taxes. It's also easy for the tax man to come into your business and take a look at the way that data is organized and understand whether you paid the correct amount of taxes or not. So our current bookkeeping system in our world today is really designed to organize our data to pay our taxes. And that's not a bad thing. It's a universally accepted way of doing our books. But it's that same data that's in that in the bookkeeping for paying our taxes that we can rearrange to come up with our dashboard that we're talking about. So we just need to get with our bookkeeper or our accountant to rearrange that data. And we're going to first focus on this thing called labor efficiency ratio. And that's going to be our first KPI in our financial dashboard. That's where we're going to start. So what do I mean by labor efficiency ratio? Everybody in their business knows what sales means. That's the dollars into the business. If you're selling a widget, you sell the widget, somebody gives you money for it. If you're selling a service, you go do the service, they give you money for that service. I'm familiar with the tent rental business. We go out and put some tents up, they give us some money, that's our sales. It's pretty simple. The next thing is, it's called cost of goods sold. Now these are the costs that you incur in your business that only happen when a sale happens. For instance, in the tent rental business, when somebody calls and places an order for us to go set up a tent, we incur a cost right out of the gate because we got to pay labor to load the truck up. We got to put that labor in the truck and we got to go out and set that tent up. We got to pay for the gas to make that truck go. We got to pay for the maintenance to make that truck get there. We got to pay for the labor to set the tent up. We got to pay for the labor to take the tent down. We got to pay for labor to bring it back. We got to clean that tent and put it back on the shelf. All those costs along that journey going out and coming back are our cost of goods. And there's a number of other ones within it. It's the sales minus this cost that's associated with the sale leaves us with a number that is called our gross profit. And these are all really important numbers. And what we're going to focus on is the gross profit. And what we want to know for our labor efficiency ratio is this. It's really important. I'm going to go really slow here. What percentage of our gross profit is labor? So we have a labor number there, and we have a gross profit number there. We want to know what that ratio is. I'll say it again. What percentage of our gross profit is labor? Because for most people listening here, no matter what your business is, no matter what industry you're in, labor is your biggest cost of goods sold. And if you can control that, the higher your gross profit's going to be. So when you start tracking this ratio of labor efficiency ratio, the lower the number, the better it's going to be. When you first figure it out, it is what it is. That's how your company's running. It doesn't really matter. Don't make a judgment on what that number is at the moment. What you're going to start doing, though, is you as the owner or the manager of this company, you're going to start walking around your company and changing how things get done. In essence, you're going to start focusing on efficiencies. Because if things can get done a lot more efficient, you're going to watch this number start to drop. I know in the tent rental world, we focus on how efficient do we load our truck? How accurate do we load our truck so we don't have to come back and get parts we forgot? What kind of route do we take to the customer site that's most efficient where my guys sitting in the truck are going to be sitting in the truck the least amount of time? When we get to the job site, what's the most efficient way to put that up? What kind of tools do we have available to us to get that tent up in the air a lot faster? What kind of methods do we use to make that happen? And all the same thing in reverse. How fast can we clean a tent? How fast can we put it back on dry it and put it back on the shelf? So you're going to start walking around your company. If you make widgets, how fast do we make the widgets? Maybe you're a distributor and you buy the widgets. What's our cost to buy them? What's our cost to put them on the shelf? Is it located in the right space in the warehouse so that I can walk the least amount of distance to get it when somebody places an order for that widget? All these type of questions you're going to start asking. And you're going to find yourself walking around your business with this new set of glasses on, looking for efficiencies. And then when you start implementing them, you're going to go back to your dashboard and say, hey, did it go down? It becomes a game. But it's a game that's absolutely going to change your business and make it a better business. And I guarantee you what's going to happen is a new set of KPIs is going to come up. You're going to realize that you need to start tracking some other things in your business. And I can't predict what they're going to be. But only out of walking around your business to make it more efficient will it become obvious. So I would suggest that you start creating your dashboard with one KPI, and it's called the labor efficiency ratio. I know there's some software out there. If you're in the tent world, I'm going to get a big shout out to Forsey and their company because they are dialed into this labor efficiency ratio with their software. And it gives you real-time data that can help you manage day in and day out, right down to the hour, to control that labor cost and get it super efficient. That's how we can start by using finances to create a better business. What about a better life through finance? I'm going to share a little story In episode 1, you heard me talk about my trials of a business where I grew it. And then I came home and my life at home was kind of a wreck. And I had to stop things and spend more time at home. I set a goal for myself to spend more time at home. And then I set a goal for myself to say, hey, this business is going to serve me. I'm not serving the business. I'm going to design it so it provides for me what I need on a personal level. And I set that goal to be time with myself, with my family, my wife, and my friends. So that was my goal. I'm not saying that has to be your goal, but that was my goal. That all went well. I built a great business. It became more profitable. I wasn't chasing sales as much. Profit is where I was at. But something happened on my personal finance side of things. I started spending more money on the personal side of things. My wife and I joined a country club. We ate out at extravagant restaurants more often. And this kind of crept in very slowly until a very good friend of mine, I was kind of crabbing to him one day about, man, I don't have as much money as I used to. And he was very frank with me and told me that, if you take a look at your personal spending, you might be able to correct that. Because the other thing that was happening to me was I ended up working more at the business. It was creeping in, but I was spending more time back at the business, and I wasn't attaining the goal that I set out, spend more time with my children, my wife, and so forth. So because I was spending more money at home, I had to go back and make that business produce more money because that's the only revenue stream that I had that was going to line my pockets on a personal level. I didn't have any alignment there with what I said I wanted to do, the goal that I had, and what I was actually doing. Now it took a little bit of time for me to admit that I had joined the country club or eating out and all this stuff and stopped doing that. It was a bit hard. I had to do the inner work. I had to do the reflections to make that happen. When we talk about better lives, we got to really define what do I want out of life when we're talking about our finances. Because we're going to spend our money in pursuit of that goal. And the profits of the company will have to adjust to make that happen. So for me, I decided to take the profits of the company down a little bit so I could spend more time at home. But it meant I had to change the amount of money I was spending at home. This type of inner work can be the hardest thing that we'll ever do. There is no quick answer. It takes time. And these answers change over time as we get older, as life circumstances change. These answers change. But perhaps here's the hardest part of it. The best answers come when we face our fears and we're honest with ourselves. I can tell you, joining a country club, buying the cars, eating out, it felt great for me. And only through being honest with myself and facing my fears did I realize why I was doing that. You see, I was doing that because when I pulled up to the country club in my nice fancy car, what I really wanted was my friends, my wife, my kids, everybody around me to acknowledge me and tell me how awesome I was. That's really why I wanted it. It had nothing to do with the cars, the country club, all that was really an attempt for me to find some praise. Until I got vulnerable and seeked some help from other people, did I come up with that answer. And when I became comfortable with, you know what, I'm great with who I am, and these people do love me, then I could give up that country club membership, be comfortable in a little lesser car, and spend a little bit less money and take the profits from the company back down to where they could, and realize the goal that I set for myself. That was to spend more time with my family and those around me. So I had to do the inner work and really do that hard introspection to get real honest with myself, to change my spending habits, and then require a little bit less from my company. So there you have it. Finance. Better lives for better business for better lives. I would be remiss if I ended this podcast without giving Greg Crabtree a little bit of shout out. I don't know Greg Crabtree very well, but I've heard him speak a number of times, and I've read all of his books. This man has a passion for entrepreneurial finance, the exact stuff that I'm talking about. If you are a lifelong learner and you want to know more about this concept, read his book, Simple Numbers, Straight Talks, Big Profits. Take a look at our show notes. It's a simple read, but it will change the way you look at your finances and the way you operate your business. And it'll give you all the tools that you need to move forward in that. You can buy it in the show notes below. I know some of you right now have questions about this. Maybe you've got questions on how to execute some things or whatever. Contact me. Our contact is in the show notes below. I'll give you some answers in the next few episodes. Hey, thank you for being with us. Episode 2, Teeco Steve here. Have a great day.